Hello, Capricorn. It has been a long time. I am happy to be back and share with you October's forecast. It's been a while, only because I've been busy. My day job, of course, has always been doing readings for you on a one on one basis, but I have been laying quite low on doing the YouTubes. And that's only because when I start up again, then you have to fully commit and follow up, follow through. And I've just been too busy to find that time. But what I'm doing now to compromise a little bit, you're going to get the raw file here. I'm not going to edit or render. If there's bloopers, laugh along with me. All right. Be patient if something goes wrong. And it's only because it saves me a lot of time. And you can ask any of the astrologers doing 12 videos a month. It takes a lot of time. And so here we go. What I'm also doing is I'm going to be sharing a file with you so that you can see your own chart as we speak, so that you can follow along with what is going on right now. I'm just going to, there we go, add the video here so you can see me as we're talking. You're going to be able to follow along here. You will see the little arrow as we point out certain aspects of your chart. So, it is like, my goodness, this year, 2020, has been such a roller coaster. And I know that plenty of you are listening to all the other amazing astrologers out there, and you're all up to date with it. So I'm not going to spend too much time on COVID and what has been going on. But listen, hey, I would like to say that at the end of this video, I've attached a second video talking about COVID, and not just COVID, but the planetary aspects that's been so difficult, so complicated, so restrictive for all of us, and how it pertains to your specific sign. So that's going to be my 2 cents worth. That could be maybe worth listening to. But let's start up, because October is a very special month in the sense it's going to have two full moons. And I'm going to start right there with that. That first full moon, Capricorn, is going to be, oh, let me just get my little, um, here. There we go. We went arrow. Yes, right down here, you'll see October 1st. We have the first full moon. It's going to be here at 9 degrees in uh, Aries, and we'll find it here. For you, that's going to be the fourth house. This is where you're going to feel accumulation. This is where the full moon will bring in everything to your foundation, to your family, the things that are important to you as far as security, and what you are establishing in the here and now in your own grounded sense. You've been very busy there, Capricorn. Mars has been there for a while. It's going to continue to be there for a while. Mars normally moves through a sign in 6 weeks. What we're seeing right now, because the retrograde of Mars, is that it's going to give a full 6 months touring this area of your chart. So you will see how the family's going to need you more, or you're going to need your family more, or the home area is going to need to be fixed or whatnot. Mars, being in Aries, is extra feisty. It's the ruler of Aries. So it's fiery. Um, and the full moon is going to amplify this here October 1st in this area. Then on October 31st, we have 8 degrees Taurus, which for you is right here in the fifth house. That is self-expression. You're going to love this one, because from it, it is creative, it's romantic, it's the things that you love to do when you have time off and leisure time and whatnot. And being in the sign of Taurus, Taurus loves beautiful things, right? Or to do things that really bring a lot of that Venetian energy that Taurus represents. So this is a time where you might have a little surprises too, as far as the romantic energy goes. Why? Well, look at this. It's right here with Uranus, fifth house. And Uranus is always that surprise element. You never know what you're going to get before you get there. Uranus can bring big, good surprises, and it can also bring oopsies out of the blue, things coming in, right? But it is a full moon, so it should be something, um, I would say, something that it won't escape your attention. It will definitely get your goat, and it's going to be here in the romantic area. Some of you might find new love in places you had never ever thought of. Um, and since, the opposite sign of the fifth house is the 11th house, some of you might just even, through being online, you can find a new partner if you're single. Online, maybe it's a dating site, or maybe it's somebody that's going to pop up from your circle of friends, perhaps. You'll know when you get there. But that is, yes, October 31st. Be ready for it. It's not that often that we have two full moons all in one sign. So I'm excited about that. Then let's take a look at Mercury. Mercury is going to be retrograde, and we know all of us how that goes. All right. Communication can go a little haywire, there can be delays. Mercury for you is right up here in the 11th house of hopes and dreams, right? So, um, but it's also your network, your social circle, it's your online presence, for example. Um, so here we just want to be a little careful that there won't be mishaps, miscommunications, and those kind of things. But we can come to experience somewhat delays. Those of you that who's been with me for years, we know that Mercury retrograde is not a time to sign into anything new. Nothing new. Anything that's old that you've been a part of earlier is okay to move forward with and still work at. In fact, that's where it's going to show up a lot, giving you like a second chance to go and redo or tweak it um, before Mercury moves forward again on November 4th. I always like to give it maybe like a week to 10 days after Mercury goes direct again, just because it's still traveling in its shadow. And so it can still be a little iffy, right? But from November, say mid month, November, we should be out of it. Um, but the area where these delays or miscommunications can come in is in the circle of friends or any kind of groups, organizations. We want to be a little careful with what we're saying, especially because Mercury is in the sign of Scorpio. So we don't want to, be targeted for somebody coming with comments that can be a little painful, perhaps, um, which can happen. We want to be careful that we're not using sharp words that we can't take back either, right? So, yeah, but Scorpio really gets the job done. If you need to really hash something out to heal a situation, then definitely go with it. It's time to heal the past. It's time to address those things that might have been a little painful in the past, but now we can kind of navigate through it and ask for forgiveness or say, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention back then. And now we can, get it all back together and get on the same page and move forward again. It's beautiful for healing aspects. Then we have Venus, Capricorn, Venus right here for you in Leo. Um, for you, I think this is something that you like because Venus is very warm when it travels through Leo, which it has been doing all September. And you have the first few days of October to still ride this wave to express that joy that Leo has, that warmth, that charisma, right? But the eighth house, not just about money. It is about money, not like your income house, which is the second house down here. This is more about your savings, your inheritance, royalties, commissions, money that you have and share with your partner. But it's also the house of Scorpio. So it might have been a very passionate month here for you in September. You still have that for you in the first few days of October before Venus is going to ingress and move into the sign of Virgo, ninth house, where Venus will express itself totally differently. More on that next month. We'll speak of it. But you will feel it, though, that um, Venus wants to start researching, going into the depth of higher education. Some of you might even sign up for a class or Venus wants to move around and travel a little bit. We know that we've been having the lockdown. It's been hard to travel. Ninth house, though, really likes to get out there, do things, right? So you might feel that that itch might come to you. I want to talk a little bit more about Mars. We talked about it. Go back down to your fourth house. We talked about it being a little feisty and how it's going to be lingering for a while. Um, Mars is that onboard engine that we have. It's what propels us towards our goals, our ambitions, all of those things that are super, super important. For you, yes, it's about securing your home and making your home life secure. Um, but there's a challenge here for not all of you, but most of you. You definitely do want to kind of check your personal natal charts with transits to see where that is showing up, because this is a group reading for all of you, Capricorns. But the challenge is, let me show you. I'm going to try to go with the red line here. Hang on, I'm going to draw a line. See this Mars in the fourth house? It has a direct 90 degrees. They're both 25 degrees as we start off the month. Mars is action. Saturn is restriction. It is those things that are locking us down, frustrating us, but it's also the authorities coming in, and it's also in a square up to Pluto. And you know, you've heard me say that before. Mars is dynamite. Pluto is nuclear. Put the two of them together and have a face-to-face. What do we get? It's like a war zone, right? Um, so there's a lot of things going on. Your first house is you. That's where you have Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. So you're going to feel this directly, Capricorn, onto yourself, your personal self, the challenges coming in there from Mars. And of course, Jupiter is also in a square, and Jupiter rules what we believe in. It's our faith. It's justice. What we feel is justice, right? And there's a big energy of wanting to come and express that. What feels fair, what is just, what is unjust. And a lot of us might feel very fired up on needing and wanting to express those frustrations. Be careful, though, with that, because we don't want to end up alienating people or circumstances, and especially not family members, because we can see down here is family, all right? Or maybe it could be family members coming to you and wanting to really hammer down what they think is just. And you might be up here in the first house and reacting to it, and wanting to kind of just establish what is needed. But this is what 2020 has been all about. And it looks like you've been very engaged into it because it's been affecting your first house, Capricorn, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, the lockdown. And I think that lockdown has been specifically hard on you because it is the first house. And, you know, Jupiter wants to be out and about. Jupiter wants to expand. And then Saturn is saying, no, you can't think about Saturn with the rings. It's been holding you back, saying you're in a mandatory lockdown and having to have your mask being constricted. And of course, Jupiter doesn't like that. And then Pluto is the area that is transforming for you, which in the long run actually is going to set you up in a whole new norm. There's a lot of good things to say about this once the transformation is done and over with, which it isn't yet. You know, we're still going to have a lot of conflict. We're still going to meet a lot of the challenges. We may not be happy for it, but hey, listen, we got to push through. This is like contractions before birth, right? And that doesn't always, you know, feel good. But then when the birthing is there, and this is all about Pluto, which is going to be restructuring those values. And for you, it will be really good long run. We just got to get through this tunnel, right? And get out to the other side. You can do this, Capricorn, but use this energy, use this time a little wisely, because you're going to feel triggered. People may be coming at you, wanting to project and whatnot, and you might just, your Mars might say, but this is my standpoint. This is my stance. This is what I believe. We might feel very triggered, and but know that even this shall pass. Don't, in other words, buy into it. Don't buy into anything that doesn't resonate here with you. All right? Just so you know, there's a little bit of a bumpy road. Moving on from Mars, we're going up to Jupiter, but we just talked about it because Jupiter is interactive there with Mars. So it's between you and family members, very much so. A lot of the things of your values right now. We talked about Saturn also being here in a square to Mars, so no need to talk about it. So we're going to jump right ahead and go to Uranus. We have talked about that conjunction that's going to take place right there on October 31st. Pay attention to that day. And some of you might have some incredible downloads of information, creatively so, that's going to really bring that surprise to you. We have Neptune. Neptune is kind of like hanging out on its own right here. Where is that stamp? The arrow in your third house. So to me, a lot shows that you Capricorns are wanting to communicate about your ideals, your idealism. Third house is all about communication. Right now, Neptune being in retrograde allows you to kind of go back over where you've been transforming and having your hopes, your dreams, and you might have found now that Neptune has passed into like up to nearly 20 degrees in this area, that over time you can have found yourself speaking, sharing differently than what you did years ago, right? Uh, Capricorn likes to be very grounded, very specific. You're governed and ruled by Saturn, right? But you've been implementing this creative spirituality into your consciousness, and this has allowed, which I'm really happy to see, a lot of growth, spiritual growth in your consciousness, and you find yourself sharing this more and more to the people that you meet um, upon your path, right? And in that spirituality, I feel there's a gentleness, a softness, which is kind of rounding the edges of that Saturn, which is your ruler. Um, and Saturn is good for mastering those things that we're here karmically to do, right? Saturn sometimes can be a little rigid, right? Or holding back. It's like, ooh, I can't do that, or I don't dare do that. It's like it brings evolution to a certain point, all the way up to Saturn, and then it stops. The only way to get beyond those rings is to take that leap of faith to the transpersonal planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, those outer three. And so I feel for you, there has been a lot of that growth over these last years, tuning into the spiritual side, that there's more to us than just the five physical senses, right? And the more you're sharing that, I can see how you've been amazed that actually there's other people out there also thinking in that way. I think in the past you were afraid maybe to be somewhat judged by it, but not as much now. But when you listen to your moon and your rising sign, and I always ask you to do that, it's going to give you additional insight, because the solar chart, like what we're doing here, that's more the you, the I am energy that's coming in for you. But the moon sign is the emotional side of October, how you're going to be reacting, because the sun radiates, the moon receives. And if you want to know how your emotional month is going to be, you definitely want to go listen to your moon sign right now, see what that can give you, and also your rising sign, if you know it, because that's how you are going to be portraying yourself. Ooh, there's a fly here. How you're going to be portraying your energy out to the public world, and how they're going to be receiving your energy. That's why we always want to listen to the rising sign reading as well. It just gives us so much more when we listen to all three readings. Yeah, right? And especially now that we're in this very transformative era with Pluto doing what it's doing. I swear, it's like It's tearing us down, purging us into that core. So we're kind of um, getting, I'd like to say it's like a new incarnation while we're still in this physical embodiment, right? So that we get like in the aftermath, new beginnings, totally new beginnings. Some of us really going in new directions that we might have needed to wait to new incarnation to come in and start to do. We're going to do it while we're here. So, I'm, you know, as bad as it's been, I've been super excited about everything taking place. You'll hear more about that in this following video if you listen to it. So thank you, Capricorn, for listening, watching. Know that I am back. Spread the word to your friends, to your family members that always listened to me in the past, that knows that I've been out of drift for a while, but I am back. And I'm looking forward to see you here pretty soon again. So take care. Stay safe. Bye now.